I haven't posted in a while. I've been watching a lot of striking, and I wish there was an anime for jiu-jitsu like Hajime no Ippo. Anyways, here's Nick Salles versus Frank Ortiz at the Indianapolis Open for Nogi in 2024. I think it's a good match to study. I really look up to the movement art guys. I think they have really technical frames and they have really good guard, and you'll be able to see this today. So first thing, pull guard, and then just like crazy good retention, right? The fact that his space between his armpit and his hip is closed off, he's not kicking out wildly, and it makes it really hard to pass because that's how you pass, right? You occupy that space. And something that Nick does really well is he can just repummel his legs really well and recenter. And he doesn't pummel, like his high pummels are very tight, right? He doesn't like swing wide and his hips don't come up off the mat, right? Like that little, just a tiny little motion just to get on the inside of the bicep. He's not swinging all the way over to get to the far hip, right? I think when you swing wide all the way over, that allows the passer to either insert a knee and go leg drag on this side, or they can do dives and start attacking like diving crab takes, right? So I like really small pummels, and I think he does a really good job of feeling out when this guy's driving in, and he frames on his collarbones and his hips, and he never goes for butterfly hooks, which I think is very counterintuitive for a lot of people who are still on very old school jujitsu. But just like notice his foot placement is literally perfect. I just don't think you're going to be able to dive in like this, right? Okay, you could say he's getting closer to getting passing. I don't think you could really pass on the knees. Like very, very outdated jiu-jitsu. So passing on the knees, damn near impossible. Foot here, knee framed. He's not putting this foot in here, right? Like he's not opting to just accept a half butterfly and play a half guard game because half guard is half passed, right? So still being supine, his hands always fishing for a grip, probably grabbing a 2-on-1 on this side, and then his other bottom leg is going for like a K guard control. It's just very annoying to deal with, you know. So here, grabbing a leg, but you see again, a nice frame on the thigh, right? He's not just pulling himself in with no frames. If he does that, he's toast. Again, right? Frame on the actual like skeletal system, frame on the hip. He's not diving this underneath. He's not swinging into this open space and just trying to get his knee in and like a knee shield or a half butterfly. It's like legitimate frames. And if he gets, you try to dive into the guy, like how you gonna do this? Like constantly, a foot on the hip. It's so good. It's extremely frustrating to deal with if you've ever felt anything like this. It's like you're walking into cement. Like it's just so annoying. Again, pummeling in, right? I think a lot of people are taught with this leg, oh, just pummel in and you take like a half butterfly or a knee shield here, but I don't think that's optimal. I think honestly, frame on the shoulder forces them to have to blade their body, right? This guy has to retract his right shoulder towards the audience here in order to swipe this frame off. And while he's doing that, he's bringing this shoulder forward. You can already see this grip here. He's going for a Choi bar. The match finishes in a Choi bar, right? Now he swings over, again, stepping on the shoulder, right? Like constantly frames. You're never playing with just hooks because you get smushed. You'll just get smushed and you'll just get past, right? So he has his counter pressure of pulling on this guy's elbow and also his foot framing. He's not kicking the guy away. He's just existing, and it feels like your limbs are being pulled and the slack is getting taken out of your joints. So the guy exits out, pulls his arm out. Again, Nick's hips are flat on the mat. He's not rising up, right, to meet this guy. He's not self-stacking himself. He's not putting himself in a reverse stack. He's not putting himself in any danger of any dives. He has his single arm out. I'm sure if it was like Rotulo, he'd try to rip an arm bar, but and then immediately recenter back to try to retain guard, right? Like this is a frame. This foot is probably a frame. I can't really see behind his head. And then look, off that, amazing. Snatches this row drag variation of the Choi bar, which I actually highly prefer over the Lachlan style Choi bar where he does the gable grip behind the elbow. I think Lachlan has really good mechanics when you lock up that kind of like slicing wrist bone when the elbow is actually attached to your center line. But I think this is a slightly safer option to just hit a row drag from the bottom, right? We're doing a cross wrist grab from the bottom, and then on top, you're using like this rolling motion on the back of their elbow, and it's almost like how do I describe it? It's like you're trying to roll their meat. Pause. You're trying to roll their tricep to come forward, right? And it's just like it really does torque their arm in a way that I feel like I can actually get really good purchase on the elbow. So I prefer that grip over the other one just because I also think if you look at the placement, Nick's back isn't really off the mat that much. I feel like I sometimes if I have shitty frames, let's see right here, right? Guess it's row drag. Sometimes if I have shitty frames, like if this frame is deleted and the guy actually has good posture, and if I sell out and I just grab here, I feel like I don't have as much purchase on the elbow to pull down to me in the angle that I need. Versus like here, I know for sure I can shuck this guy's wrist just below my right deltoid and then punch my right arm across. And that actually really does force a solid bend in the elbow. And then here, he throws this over. Remember, the most important part of the Choi bar is having a downward pressure on this shoulder, right? It's not looping through, it's downward pressure, which I think Nick does really well. There, right? And breaking down that posture, you can test this with your friends. If there's a downward pressure on your shoulder while you're getting Choi barred, it's really hard to stand up, like really hard. You're basically forced to roll through. This guy tries to step over and, gets tapped by the arm bar. Very nice short match. I think really good concepts. Always having frames on shoulders, on collarbones, on hips. Never having just hooks without any frames. And then getting a really nice, I guess it's also called a throw by sometimes, but getting a nice row drag variation of the Choi bar from bottom. I really think it's solid. I think the last little tidbit here is like this section here when he goes for a Choi bar, the guy rips out, right? And then on the recovery when he goes back in, like I prefer this variation because I feel like for me to reach and get a solid gable grip here, my left shoulder would have to come up off the mat. So for that reason, I don't like being pulled up off the mat because I feel like a really athletic guy can just jump over and try to attack my back. I really like this row drag variation. I feel like I can keep a straight spine, my back glued to the mat, and I'm like a sled. Like they're not gonna do anything to me, right? And then obviously you can change the angle to help facilitate with your leg getting in, but I think it's legit. I basically only ever play this variation of a entry into Choi bar.